Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Tata Coffee Q3FY23 results conference call hosted by ICICI Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference, please signal an operator by pressing star and then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Aniruddha Joshi from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Darwin. On behalf of ICICI Securities, we welcome you all to Q3 FY23 results conference call of Tata Coffee Limited. We have with us senior management of the company represented by Mr. K. Venkatramanan, Executive Director, Finance and CFO, and Mr. Amit Pant, Head of Sales and Marketing. Now I hand over the call to the management for initial comments. Post that we will open the floor for question and answer session. Thanks, and over to you, sir.
Good morning to all. I'm Venkat. Thanks for joining. I'm here to present the Q3 earnings call of Tata Coffee. Overall, for the quarter, our standalone, including the Vietnam, that is the instant coffee and plantation business, have done quite well. There have been challenges, of course, pertaining to the inflationary environment and some bit of demand contraction in some geographies. But overall, the standalone revenue has gone up by 23%, and this is mainly possible on account of higher gross margins on instant coffee and improved realizations, and also the hedging and FX benefits. The standalone profit is slightly lower at 26.61. That's more, while the PBT is higher, there will be a bit of a higher tax rate due to the higher central income. On instant coffee, India and Vietnam both have delivered very good performance with capacities being saturated in both the places. We continue to drive wherever the cost optimization and efficiency improvements across all the operations. And Tata Coffee Vietnam in particular has delivered an excellent performance despite the inflationary challenges. And thanks to the good work around the new product development and very quick execution of orders and continued customer focus, we have delivered a strong performance there. The order book for Tata Coffee Vietnam continues to be strong. We are covered right up to the end of this fiscal and moving on and also rolling on to the next year as well. We have also commissioned a liquid extract plant in Vietnam, and we hope to see the results in the coming quarters. On the coffee plantation, the process of harvest is continuing. Arabica is getting completed, and then Robusta and Pepper would follow. The green bean business has also done quite well thanks to our premiumization efforts. On the tea business continues to be impacted due to the pest in the tea and the anomalized tea operations. However, we have been able to deliver higher realizations. We have invested quite well in the tea factories, and we are also putting in a lot of efforts to see how the infestation of insects can be controlled. Coming to the consolidated revenue, we are at 747 crores compared to 626 crores for the previous year same quarter, increase of 19%. We have delivered higher realizations both on 8 o'clock and the instant coffee business of the company. The consolidated profits are lower. That's primarily due to the 8 o'clock coffee has been impacted due to higher input and other costs, and we also a bit of volume pressures there. And we of course we hope to see the easing back of the margins over the coming quarters. So to summarize, it has been a kind of a stable, good performance on the standalone and Vietnam on the instant coffee businesses. And 8 o'clock, where there has been improved realizations, the profitability has been impacted, and it's more as over the next few quarters, we hope to sort of see improvement in the margins there. I am joined by my colleague Amit Pant. I now hand the conference call back to ICICI Securities for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We have the first question from the line of Mr. Aniruddha Joshi from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead, sir.
Sir, two questions. One, how do you see the coffee prices panning out over next 1 year, and as well as tea prices panning out over next 1 year? We have seen rapid inflation and then deflation also in both the commodities. So how is the situation in both these commodities?
Yeah, I will answer the tea part and I hand over to Amit Pant, my colleague, for answering the coffee part. The tea prices, well, the orthodox bit of, we saw quite a bit of improvement there, but now it has sort of tapered off. But we are seeing good demand and prices on the CTC front. So we are hoping that the same trend would continue, or rather hold on for the ensuing few quarters. On the coffee, Amit.
Yeah, so thanks, Venkat. On the coffee, both the coffees, that is Arabica and Robusta, we have seen a significant erosion in terms of the market, where the markets were last year and where they are right now. Just to give you a statistic, in the last 6 months, the Arabica markets have eroded by almost 32%. In the last 12 months, by almost 37-38%. The erosion has been lower in Robusta, about 17% on a let's say on a 12-month basis, and similarly about 15 to 20% on a 6-month basis. So both the markets have been under pressure, largely because of the markets pricing in a recovery in the Brazilian crop in the middle of this year when it comes to the harvest, and also the larger recessionary environment that we see around the world. So clearly, coffee markets are under pressure right now, and we would reckon that Brazil's response after a year of distress has been already to some extent priced by the market. So the undertone of the markets, if you were to ask, especially Arabica in particular, is soft going forward.
Okay. Thanks, sir. So second, on the merger with Tata Consumer, so can you indicate about the timelines? And while the regulatory process will take its own time, the on-ground work, the operational merger, has it commenced? Means in terms of integration of sales team or freight and distribution, or even the employees, etc. So any process, any update that you can share on this, as well as the regulatory process also. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, on the regulatory process, we have our shareholders meeting on 3rd February. And then the normal, process in terms of the NCLT process will continue for some more time. We hope in the next 3-4 months' time that should conclude. That's what our expectation is. On the integration front, yes, we are looking at where the teams are, etc. But I won't comment on that now because it is still work under progress.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and one on your touch-tone phones at this time. The next question is from Mr. Aniruddha Joshi from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so before the question queue assembles, just wanted to check on certain aspects. So, in terms of the plantation business, so what is the outlook? It will get formed in a separate subsidiary. So, how do you see that business panning out? And also, overall, is Tata Coffee working on any particular capex? And what is the capex plan of Tata Coffee, considering there was a merger announced almost a year back? So there may not be a big capex done. So what would be the immediate need to do capex for particularly for Tata Coffee operations per se? Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, on the first part regarding the separate entity, so the rationale was explained in the composite scheme, whereby by forming a separate plantation entity, so there is quite a bit of synergies among the plantation companies and more of dedicated focus. So that will be there. Otherwise, operationally, we don't see any kind of changes there. Except that there's going to be much dedicated and better focus on the plantation business as such. On the capex front, see, the normal capex is about 25-30 crores, but that's more to do with we invest in the kind of instant coffee modernization equipments. So those would continue because those are for us wherever we see kind of incremental revenue streams or efficiency improvements, those will continue. Other than that, we also invest behind some of the plantation replanting activities wherever required in terms of irrigation. So those will continue. But we do not seeing any extraordinary exceptional capex coming up. But then the normal capex, whatever is required for the instant coffee modernization, those would continue.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we would like to remind participants that you may press star and 1 to ask a question. We have the next question from Nishant Sharma from Nuvama Wealth. Please go ahead, sir.
Thanks for the opportunity, Raj. This is more of a follow-up question on the merger timelines. So if I have heard correctly, the 3rd February we would be having a shareholder meeting, and thereafter we would require to file with NCLT, or we have already filed with NCLT?
No, the scheme has been filed with the NCLT, both TCPL and Tata Coffee. TCPL shareholders meeting is over and they have already got the approvals. There are further process in the NCLT itself. So that is going on for TCPL. As the Tata Coffee is concerned, we have our shareholders meeting for approval on 3rd of February. And post that, of course, the normal NCLT process of chairman's report being filed and second motion petitions, all that will continue.
Okay. And apart from NCLT, any other regulatory approval would be required, or that's the only one which is pending?
Other than the NCLT approval, the other process it would cover, whatever approval from the various authorities. That is part of that process. Other than that, we don't see on the regulatory side of it, the NCLT is a major one.
Okay. And the 3 to 4 months which you have referred to complete the entire process, is from today or from the post the shareholder approval?
No, we are saying post the our shareholders meeting. See, there are two legs. No, one is TCPL they have completed the shareholders approval, they got the approvals, and that process has to complete. Ours, we are estimating about 3 to 4 months because, these are all depending on the NCLT hearing. All that will take place. So our estimation is about 4 months around that time, around that kind of period.
Okay, but this is 4 months post the approval, a shareholder approval.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely, right.
Okay, understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nirav Sawal from Abakkus Investments. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so thanks for the opportunity, sir. My question is regarding this Vietnam order book, which you said is covered for this fiscal, as well as is it for the next year, or am I missing something?
Yeah, next year also. See, we normally have finally, healthy order book for Vietnam. So we are well covered into the next year's 2 quarters also.
Okay, so first half we are covered, not the entire year.
That keeps happening. No, so I'm saying 2 quarters. There could be, say, October of next year, all that, like that.
Right. So, and do we intend to expand the capacity in this business, or how do we see this?
Yeah, we have evaluating opportunities, but I don't think we have any, immediate kind of plans to announce on all that. We continue to evaluate whatever. So, just to mention, our Vietnam is operating at close to 100% capacity. So India is also sort of, our businesses are operating at full capacity. So, but we are looking at, when we look at this, we have to look at the future also. So when we continue continuously evaluate in terms of whatever investments required.
So right now, sir, is there any macro tailwind which is driving this higher utilizations, or you might see this continuing for some time? What exactly is driving this demand right now?
Yeah, so I think it's not tailwind. For the last almost several quarters, we've run a completely packed order book in Vietnam. And the utilization of the plant is near 100%, I think, for several quarters right now, not necessarily for the last 3-4 quarters. So we are very confident that the work that we have done in Vietnam in terms of the product performance, in terms of customer relationships, I think that is something which is really sort of driving a very healthy demand for our products. I wouldn't attribute it to any particular, macroeconomic or episodal factors right now.
Right. Got it. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from Akshay from Canara Robeco Mutual Funds. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So thank you for the opportunity. So partly, actually, you answered, but just to...
sorry to interrupt. The volume is very low.
Yeah, I'm not able to hear properly, Akshay.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you speak a little louder, Akshay?
Yes, sir. Hello? Is it audible now?
Slightly better. Yeah.
So, sir, just wanted your sense on the global demand. Like, at least the order book for us is largely filled. But then how do you see the global demand shaping up? Like, is there some slowdown that you are sensing and hence you are not going for a capacity expansion, or what is it? If you can portray some global picture, that would be helpful, sir.
So yeah, we don't see a challenge on the global demand. On the overall global demand, no, we don't see a challenge. There are pockets where there is a challenge. I think Venkat mentioned earlier in the summary that there are certain markets where we are seeing the effect of recession and inflation on a much stronger level than certain other markets. But coffee in general, and that's true for instant coffee also, if you look at over the last 10-15 years, the growth has been, it's been a very resilient category. The growth, despite slowdowns and financial issues in certain parts of the world, last 10-15 years, coffee has not stopped growing. So we are sanguine about prospects of coffee. We would reckon that coffee would continue to grow at a pace that it's been growing the last 10, 15, 20 years. Yes, but certain pockets will be impacted higher. In their ability to respond to what you are seeing today in terms of macroeconomic problems.
So, sir, would this be a temporary issue, or you see this as a prolonged issue? Because if the inflation cools off, then do you see that they coming back, or how do you see that?
Yeah, so see, if history is anything to make a comment on, these things are periodic. So inflation is cyclical. Some of the other factors like currencies being severely depreciated, all these are periodic issues, and over a period of time things are cyclical, so they even out. So we don't expect a long-term challenge anywhere. We expect some of these markets to rebound in due course.
Okay. Any customer additions that we would have done?
Yeah, so I wouldn't like to go into specifics here, but yes, I mean in both India and Vietnam over the last, I think especially over the last year, there's been addition of new clients, there's been addition of new portfolios. So that's augured well for both our assets in India and Vietnam. Specifics I wouldn't like to go into on this call.
Okay. Right? No, sir, actually just we wanted to sense. So this was helpful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Dhiral from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, if you can elaborate which pockets you are seeing, slowdown or, growth concern?
See, challenge is in, one geography which is clearly we are seeing a challenge is Africa. Because see, there it is impacted, we pack, SKUs for some of the customers there. So that has been impacted largely. The two reasons. One is the coffee prices itself, which that's what Amit said that it will rebound. So now with some kind of easing in prices, and also the packing materials and freight and all that. So those are all pushed up the cost for the market to absorb. So that is one geography which we would call out specifically. Any other?
Yeah, I think Africa is one definitely where we've seen challenges as Venkat outlined right now. The other markets where we've seen things a little slow, especially if you look at our India asset, is Southeast Asia. But again, as I said earlier, with China opening up, there'll be a knock-on effect on several countries around China. So we expect demand eventually to sort of recover and rebound by middle of this year or by end of this year in Southeast Asia. Africa we believe is a larger challenge because certain other product categories similar to coffee has also been impacted because of their ability to withstand a very significant inflation factor.
Okay. And sir, as you talked about that, we are already running at 100% capacity in Vietnam since last many quarters, and you are also, maybe targeting to grow at 100%, running at 100%. So, what is restricting you to, do a capex, looking at the, demand environment improving?
No, the thing is like this. No, Vietnam is a freeze-dried facility. So we need to assess the demand over the next, when we invest, it's a substantially large capex, no? So 50-60 million and all that in terms of a 5,000 ton capacity. So obviously we need to assess the capacity over a longer period of time, maybe 3 to 5 years and all that. So depending on that, then the decision is we can take. So as I said, we continuously evaluate, but I don't think we are positioned to comment anything on any concrete steps. That's where we are.
So because sir, one of our competitors again from the domestic market, sir, they are aggressively expanding capacity and they have also announced for a new capex of freeze-dried even in Vietnam. That's right. So they are growing much faster than us. That's right.
So our competition, if you're mentioning that they have some great capacity in Vietnam, and now they want to expand. See, the point is everybody looks at market from their own lens. In that sense, what priorities they have. So obviously, when we invested in, our plant in Vietnam went in commissioning in 1920, sometime in May 2019. And after that, of course, now it's 3 years. So we are well stabilized there, and we have started doing quite well there. So the next wave of expansion has to come for us, which we are continuously evaluating. So we don't want to comment on what our competition per se is doing because they kind of how they look at market may be different.
Okay. And so just last one thing, sir. How much Robusta coffee we have corrected from the peak? I missed the number, sir.
You were saying from the highs of last year, how much it is corrected right now?
Exactly.
So roughly about, if you look at where the market is right now, I think about 17%. So the shrinkage in Robusta is far lower than what we have seen in Arabica.
And so what is the current Robusta prices?
See, yesterday, if you're looking at the London chart, yesterday it settled at around $1,940 per ton. $1,941 per ton. It had gone up to a high, if I recall correctly, last year, close to 2,350. So the contraction has been about 17%.
Okay, sure. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Ranade from Goldman Sachs Asset Management. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So just one question in terms of this 8 o'clock coffee. So if I just do a simple...
You are not audible clearly, sir. If you could please speak closer to the mic.
Hello. Yeah, is this better in any way?
Slightly better, sir. If you could speak closer, sir, it would be better, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Rahul. Please go on.
Yeah. So, my question was on 8 o'clock coffee. So, if I do a simple, consolidated minus standalone, some bit of a gross margin improvement which has happened on a sequential basis for us.
Yeah.
So, I remember from last quarter call commentary where we said, that it will take some time for 8 o'clock margins to come back to normal. So, just wanted to understand where are we in that process and how long, it would take for us to recover the margins on that.
See, typically, I think last quarter also I mentioned regarding these roasters carry a little, the inventory, in terms of weeks carriage is typically a little long. In the sense, could be about 20-25 weeks and all those kinds of levels. So that for that to come back with the kind of improvement in prices would take maybe 2 or 3 quarters roughly. I'm just estimating that it could take about 2 or 3 quarters. But there are other factors also at play. So that's where we are. I won't put a specific month or quarter on which by which the margins would improve, but then that process has already started. So whatever actions are required are being taken.
Sure. Understood. And what would the rough margins be? We get the console minus standalone, but would it kind of be possible to give margins for, let's say, 8 O'Clock separately or Vietnam separately?
No, I won't be able to give. Sorry, Rahul. We won't be able to share.
Okay. Sure. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Varun from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my question is on after post merger of Tata Coffee with Tata Consumer, how the management, what changes in management structure is likely to be?
No, I have no answers for that because it is still a couple of months away, this merger. So I don't think I'll be able to answer that. I don't think anything is there concrete at this point of time.
Okay, fair enough. Sir, and secondly, what are the top 3 benefits, from the top of the mind that we should see this merger kind of bringing on the table, that you wish to highlight? What are the top 3 things?
So one is the extraction business, what we call instant coffee. The Tata Consumer has also got an instant tea business. We have a coffee extraction business. So there is kind of combining that would put a lot of synergies in place in terms of reach, customers, products, in terms of the distribution. So those are the kind of the infrastructure itself. So that is one clear kind of synergy which will be there. Secondly, in terms of there's a compliance cost listed as separate listed entity. So there's also all the that it becomes a kind of larger kind of unified entity whereby the Tata Coffee shareholders straight away would get into a larger consumers play in the sense of getting the Tata Consumer share. And thirdly, it is also leading to a separate plantation entity. So that becomes the Tata Consumer already has got they have shareholding in 2 plantation entities, and so there is more dedicated focus onto the plantation vertical and the plantation entities per se. So these are the sort of 3 broad things also. So definitely it is a win-win definitely, and with a sound rationale is being done, is being planned.
Right. Got it, sir. Thank you very much, sir. This is very much helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen who wish to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phones now. Participants who wish to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Kiran from Kiran Investments. Please go ahead.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity, sir. Sir, Tata Consumer is launching any new products in the coming 6 months, 3 months?
Oh, they will have their analyst call sometime in early February. Please, I'm sure Tata Consumer team will have to answer that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phones. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for the closing comments. Over to you.
Thank you very much for joining the call, and we thank the investors for continued interest in the company. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.